All right, everyone, I'm hoping I'm live now. Let's check and see my channel. View channel. I don't. Okay, there we go. Everything's backwards, but I am live now. So thank you for stopping by and coming and checking out how I make soap, or my soap making tutorial. So for the very first, I'm gonna turn the volume off on this because I can hear myself talking in the background. So this is my very first soap making tutorial, and I just wanted to share with you how I make soap together. So the first things that I want to talk about are safety. So when you are making your own soap, you're using some chemicals, you're using lye, and I'm sorry that everything's backwards, but I wanted to just make sure I saw myself in the picture so that I knew what you guys were seeing as well. So this is definitely backwards, but they're lye crystals, so you want to make sure that you take precautions when you use these. I pretty much measured everything out, but we're going to measure out my last ingredient together, and that's the olive oil. So when there's lots of information on soap safety, soap making safety. Brambleberry, they do a great job on covering lots of different issues with soap and how to make soap and various different kinds of soap, from cold process to melt and pour. But the main things is you want to have some safety goggles or glasses. These are from the dollar store. You want to have an apron, so let's put that on just to reduce any splashes on your clothing. You want to have a pair of gloves, and then you can also have some vinegar on hand if you get splashed on and need to throw that on there to reduce the amount of the burn. That will help, or it's supposed to help. I've been very fortunate. I've never burned myself yet. So I thought, hey, Ange, wouldn't it be fun to show everyone how to do a soap swirl when you've never done one before? So thought that was very ambitious of myself. So I did attempt one the other day, so we're going to cut into that in a minute. But most of my soaps are like, this is a peppermint and green tea soap. I'll try to throw that up there. So that's just my basic soap base with some peppermint essential oils and then some green tea, dry green tea that I put in there. I've done an oatmeal and vanilla soap, you can see there. And yeah, that one smells amazing. And for that one, you just take some oatmeal and you just throw it in a grinder and grind it up so it's, tiny flakes. This is my regular soap base, so it's just a very, very, plain hard bar soap. And then this is my newest one, and this one is cocoa and coffee. So it's a cocoa coffee scrub. So I just use cocoa powder and dry coffee grinds for that one. So I like to make all natural soaps using natural products. So I thought when I made this bar, which I'll grab, I was going to be really creative, and I wanted to use beetroot powder. I thought that would make my soap turn pink, because it was just my basic recipe. And I thought that would be nice and pink when I did it. And then I wanted to use some, which I left in the fridge, and I'll grab it in a minute. I'll just grab it, because I can't remember the name of what it's called. Ah, yes, spirulina. I wanted to use some spirulina powder to make the green. So that worked out. I got green, but I don't know what the swirl looks like. So we're gonna cut into that and we'll see if I mastered or messed up the swirl. So my soap boxes, I just buy off Amazon, and when I bought them, you get two to a package, or I did, and I got 2 cutting utensils. So I got the crinkle cutter, and I got the like straight edge one. So I just always use this one, but I thought that was, you know, kind of a nice option. You get this one too. So let's cut into this guy, and then we will see what happens, and then I will start getting into the process of making the soap with you. So these pop out really easily. Let me just pop out of the box. And then you just pull away the sides. Now, if you can see on my soap, it's got some soap ash on it. It's not harmful, but what happens is, I was just reading up on it, it's when the temperatures drop, I guess, below 100 degrees, I'm gonna say Fahrenheit, and it creates this soap ash on the top. So there's some various ways that Brambleberry mentioned that you can get rid of it, most likely because the oils drop down to below 100 degrees. So I'm going to try to avoid that this time by heating up my oils a little bit within the process. But let's open this package and see what we get. So, like I said, it was my first attempt, and I do like to have my soaps dry for probably 48 hours. This one's quite soft still. It's sticky, but it came out, yeah, it's bending. So I do like to have my soaps sit for probably 48 hours because it gives them a little bit longer to cure before you handle them. So I'll just put that down for a sec. Get this guy out of the way. These wash up very easily. A little soap and water, wash them up, dry them, clean them for the next one. So, excuse me. So I use this as my soap cutter. It's a little miter cutting tool. It was in my husband's tool shed, so I borrowed it. I haven't returned it. It makes cutting soap very easy. You just find the center one, slice it down. And I put a little piece of paper on there so that when it rubs, it doesn't get messed up on the bottom, because the bottom has like all these little holes on it. And I've marked on it exactly where I like to cut the soap bar for my width of soap. Okay, the moment of truth. Let's find out what it looks like inside. So, I don't know if any of you do fluid art, but if you have, the thinner the paint, the sort of more blended all the colors are. The thicker the paint, like a ring pour, it holds the colors. So I mix this to more of like a medium thick trace, sort of. I overmix, I always do. I'm gonna try not to on this batch because we're gonna do the swirl again. But when I overmixed it, so it started to sort of just, and you can kind of see it in the bars, it layered. So let's cut off an end and see what the surprise looks like. So this size of soap making box, you get about, how many? 9 to 10 bars. Okay, didn't exactly do what I thought it was going to do. So let's cut a couple more here. it's sticky because it's still quite dry. So no, it did not swirl, but it looks kind of cool. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to grab some water. So the soap was probably too thick. But let's keep cutting and see what happens. Yeah, it's the same all the way through. And I really did try to swirl it and swirl it and swirl it. But that's okay. I mean, I would still sell that. I think it's kind of fun. And it's got beetroot powder and spirulina in it. So there you go. So cutting and storing soap, this takes about a month to cure. You want it to be dry, solid, not sticky. So after you cut it, put it in, you know, maybe a shoebox or on some, I don't know, on a drying rack with some saran wrap over it or something. Yeah, I did not get a swirl. No swirls, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it still looks kind of cool. And then I'll just cut the last little piece off here. I keep the ends for myself, keep them, you know, throw them in my shower. So the other thing I should have done before is I just sort of maybe, you know, rub the sides down a little bit and clean up the edges of the soap. So I'll do that later after we make our soap. But yeah, you can just sort of do that. And I'll just move these all over and then we will start into the soap making process. Okay, and the two ends, and put that over there. That's how I do that. I'll just clean up my hands and we'll start making soap. That's the fun part. I love making soap. Like I said, I am a hobbyist soap maker. I do this for fun, pure enjoyment, and I sell some of them sometimes. So some of the equipment you will need a good digital scale. So you want a scale that you can do ounces, grams, and tare it so that you can get everything back to zero. So it's probably backwards. There, I've got it on, and I'll put my pot on and tare it. So I need one more. So the last one that we need to measure is the olive oil. So make sure you've got a clean pot. And in a minute, I'm going to lift up the camera and I'll put it over so you can see everything that's going on. Move the soaps out of the way. So let's measure the last one, which is the olive oil. So my recipe, tared it to zero. So I am making two of these. So my recipe doubled calls for 900 grams of olive oil. So let's measure out 900 grams. The purer the olive oil, the whiter your soap will be. And you really want to be as close to your measurements as possible, maybe a gram or two off. Okay, I got 902. Okay, so the ingredients for my recipe are olive oil, coconut oil, shea butter. I just ordered that off of Amazon. Sorry, it's backwards in the camera. Shea butter and castor oil, water, and lye. So what is that? 6 ingredients. The most expensive being the shea butter. That's the most expensive. So, move the ingredients out of the way so I've got some working space. So the way I found this way on watching another lady's channel, and I think it does work really well for just soaps that are sort of all one consistency through. It might not work so well for doing the swirls and stuff, because it sounds like you do want your soap to be, you know, at least consistently 100 degrees. So my way is we put everything in one bin and away we go. So this was my shea butter, and I've melted it just so it incorporates easier and quicker. And I'm just gonna go and grab the coconut oil out of the microwave, because I've melted that down as well so that it incorporates really quickly into the water and the lye. So I'll be right back with that. Okay. So let me set the camera up and just move it so that you guys can see the mixing process. Because I think fundamentally, like, that's, you need to know what you're mixing up and what it's gonna look like. So you want a clean mixing bowl. I use my Rona bucket. I'm Canadian. So there you go. Okay, I'll just move this down over here to the end. And I'll move you over. And, sorry for this, we'll try to get you up and over the bucket so that you can see what's going on here. And you can see when I mix it to trace. Okay. Okay, I hope that's okay. Hope you can see. Okay. So we are going to now, first thing we want to do is add in our water. You always add your water first. So water, and then lye to the water. So water in. And this is going to make fumes when we stir it. So we are going to sort of back up and do this in my house is fairly well ventilated, so I'm okay doing it. Sprinkle it slowly into your water. And I almost made a big mistake when I was doing this. I measured out the wrong amount of lye. So I'm glad that I double checked my recipe. And then, yeah, there's a lot going on here. So the fumes are quite a lot. So you could do this outside, but I don't know if you can see the steam sort of rising off. Like, it's hot, 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 hot. And yeah. So you don't, oh, I didn't put my gloves on. I'm not following my own safety precautions. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's all mixed up. So now I'm gonna start adding all of my oils. So the olive oil. And this is gonna start to cool down the lye water, but let's go with the olive oil. Make sure you get all of your precious ingredients into the bowl. Okay, olive oil. This was the shea butter. Definitely make sure you get that one. All of that. Okay, coconut. No, this was the castor oil. Last but not least, the coconut oil. Smells so good. Okay, get my lye bucket out of the way. Okay, so now we want to start blitzing. So I mean, you can do it by hand, but I think you'll be there all day. So you want to invest in a mixer. When you're doing this, any utensils that you use for soap making, you want to be sure that you only use them for soap making. So don't be using your stick blender to go make your cakes, because it's, you know, you've used it to blend lye and stuff like that. So let's see what this has dropped down to. I'm just gonna grab a thermometer. Thermometer. Guess we could use a digital one. Let's see. Okay, so we're going up to 127, 28, 29, 30, 131 degrees Fahrenheit. That's how hot that is. So hopefully the soap swirls will work this time. Okay, so we're gonna blend this up to a light to medium trace. Okay, plug this in. This is when it gets loud. Keep your stick bender at the bottom of your bucket too. If you go up, you're gonna spray. Okay, and then it's still really watery. Do a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. It's leaving a light trace on the top. This is way thinner than I left it last time. So let's hope this works. Okay, I'm going to pour some into like, let's say this bin, so that I can blend it up with the some spirulina in it, so it goes green. So let's do that. Let's pour some in there. And then I'm going to pour the rest into my bins, which are right here. And I need to move this so you can see. Unplug this guy. I'm gonna need him again though. Okay. Where are we? We're right here so you can see the. Okay. I'm gonna do a drop pour. See, it's already getting kind of thick. Pour this evenly. Get all of your precious soap out of your bucket. Oops, see, I just splattered it. Okay. I'm just gonna do that to okay, and then I want to get my green in here. And I'll zip that one together. Just gonna plug this in and zip it up. Okay. Moment of truth. I think it's still too kind of thick, but we'll see. Okay. Yep. I have a thing with making it too thick. And not being able to. Yeah, I guess. Oh, I gotta stop doing that. But anyway, it'll be interesting. So now I'm just gonna take a chopstick and blend it in a little bit and make some swirls and stuff and see how that goes. One never knows, right? Interesting to see how this one that's just all so yeah, so okay, so I need to be less heavy on the mixing. It really does need to be quite thin. So I'll do a follow-up video on these guys in a couple days when I cut them open. We can cut and do a curing. We'll cut them open to see what they look like. And if you wait a little while, it starts to firm up and then you can do some designs on the top of your soap. This is gelling up quite nicely. Sadly, I need to learn to not overmix my soaps so that it can just drop right in there and then you can swirl it. we'll see. We'll see. This might just be a big blob in the middle, or maybe I've swirled it enough that it will be something mixed inside. Who knows? Okay, so now it's time for cleanup. Oops, let me lower this. So now what I'm going to do with these 2 bars of, batches of soap is I'm going to put them on a tray. So move everything to the side here. So to move my soap around and make it easy to move, I use cookie sheets. So put that guy there and that guy there, and then to alleviate anything touching the top, I usually put a cookie board or cookie sheet on top, or sorry, cutting board on top. And then I cover it with a towel to keep it insulated and warm and to dry, cool, evenly. And then I just put it in a safe space so that it's out of the way, and just kind of like forget it for a couple days and then take it out and cut the bars. So there you have it. So that's how I make my soap. I make it all in one pot. Like I said, I'm not too sure if it's great for swirling soap, and I have not yet mastered the art of doing a very light to medium trace. Mine gets quite thick. So sadly, I'll have to keep practicing that. So I guess I'll just have to make more soap. But I'm gonna put one more towel on this to really insulate it, and make sure that it really dries at a consistent and even temperature. So there you go. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop me a line and leave them there. My soap recipes, my basic soap recipe is in 2 of my other soap making videos that I have posted online on YouTube. And like I said, it's all about, just having some fun. And I wish I only have 4 of these things. I'm gonna get maybe 4 more, because then you can really do, a few big batches all at once. And if you're gonna do that, start with your lightest soap to your darkest soap if you're batching, if you're reusing your containers. So thank you so much for joining me today and watching my soap making live tutorial. And I wish you all, happy soap making, and it brings me a lot of pleasure, so I'm hoping that it will bring you a lot of pleasure. There's a lot of great YouTube channels out there with so much information. Like I said, Brambleberry is one of them. I think Ellie's soap making, and I ran across another one last night. So there's lots of information out there for anyone that wants to get into it, but I just wanted to share with you how I do mine, and how it can kind of cut down on the time for making soap, because you're not waiting for your oils to come to one temperature and your lye to drop to another temperature. So you can just sort of all put it in the pot at the same time. So there you go. All right, you guys, you all have a beautiful day, and thank you so much again for joining, and I wish you happy soap making. All right, take care. Bye.